So we have a problem in our profession that has arisen over the years, which is largely based upon the nature of our profession, what we do. And that has to do with mental issues, mental health issues, and substance abuse issues. And I think anyone coming into our profession needs to at least be aware that this thing is going on and take steps to prevent yourself from being subject to it. And that has to do with mental health issues and substance abuse issues, as I indicated. If you look at the statistics, it's pretty alarming. For example, in the general population, about 6.7% of people report some kind of a depressive disorder, either chronic dysthymia or major depression. But in the legal profession, it's 45%. They've done studies, and 60% of those in the profession report some form of substance abuse or some kind of mental health disorder. Alcohol seems to be a particular problem. In an ABA study, 50% said they began having problems with alcohol in the first 15 years of their practice, beginning in law school. The ABA study says, quote, young attorneys are most at risk of developing alcohol abuse problems. The suicide rate, when you compare it with the general population, is about twice of the general population. Now, when I first saw these statistics, I was aware that lawyers are having problems in this area, but I had no idea that these statistics were so strong. As a matter of fact, the rate of abuse with alcohol or drugs or mental disorder is higher than with doctors. The study found that it's common for lawyers with substance abuse disorders to sacrifice their own well-being in order to reach work goals. And that quote starts to get at the heart of the problem. It went on to say that the legal profession creates an environment where it's easy to develop substance abuse disorders. So, what is it about our profession that creates these problems? Well, a lot of things. You have long work hours. I guarantee you that if you're very good at what you do, or if you work for a very large law firm, you're going to be spending an inordinate amount of time working. There's no way around it. And yes, we graduate way too many lawyers. There are 1.4 million lawyers in this country. But if you're good, you're going to have a lot of business. Also, there's a sense of unpredictability in what we do. We have challenging time commitments. This is all causing stress. There's a pressure to win at all cost, and it creates a heavy workload. Now, this causes a lot of stress for lawyers, for all lawyers, but especially for young lawyers. And stress is regarded as the major factor in the development of substance addiction. So it also results in a large percentage of lawyers with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. And what results is social and family relationships suffer, and your personal life suffers. And if you don't do something about it, you could burn out at a very early age, and you don't want to do that, obviously. So what are the possible strategies that you could employ to make sure that you don't end up as one of these statistics? I would say the first thing is just being aware of these issues as you begin your career is a huge step in trying to avoid these pitfalls. One of the things I talk about is the on-call syndrome. What's that mean? It means that even if you're working at a firm and you're kind of punching out at the end of the day, you really never leave your practice. You come home, I guarantee it, and you're going to be thinking about a case or cases that you're working on in a stressful way. The idea is you're always on call. And I can tell you from personal experience that that's a very real thing. You somehow have to find a way to, and I'm not saying that this is easy, but being aware of it and trying to develop your own skill set here is important. where you kind of leave your work at the office if you can do that in any way. Because if you don't, it's going to come with you. It's going to invade your personal life, your social life, your family life, and it can become a real problem. So I would suggest that you set boundaries, okay? So family time, social time, make it a point that there are certain times that you're going to be with your family or your friends, your acquaintances, and nothing is going to invade that time. That personal time is really important. You kind of recharge your batteries, you get away from the stress of the office, and I think you'll find that a lot of times you go back into the office, back into working with kind of a renewed energy. Time management, huge here. We've talked about this in other videos, but some of the stress that you're going to find is because there's so many files. And if you're disorganized, even if you're not consciously thinking of it, subconsciously it's causing stress on you because you're realizing I don't have really a handle on this. So to develop real good time management and case management and client management systems right off the bat and follow those religiously takes some of the edge off that stress because you feel like you're more in control because you know what the priority matters are, what the current work is, what matters have to be addressed immediately, what can wait. You got a handle on everything. You want to get to the point where the organization makes you feel like you're really on top of all of these files. There's nothing worse than sit down at a desk, you're working on a matter, but you have these other files here, and you know subconsciously there could be time limits here, I don't have a real handle on it. That causes a lot of stress. You might consider counseling or therapy if you find that this is really becoming a problem for you. That's something you need to address. More and more, there are programs specifically designed for lawyers who are either experiencing some kind of mental health issues or some substance abuse, alcohol problems, and the practice has developed these programs so that it doesn't impinge upon disciplinary actions. In other words, it's all done in confidence, so you don't have to report that to your disciplinary proceeding. If you don't address that, that could end up causing a problem that will involve a disciplinary proceeding. The other thing that has become something current in our practice is the concept of mindfulness, the concept of being present in the present moment, meditation, even if you're doing it 10, 15 minutes a day. I have found personally it makes a big difference. It reduces the stress. You're much more efficient. You're much more aware. I obviously can't go into the whole topic of mindfulness. I'm not really qualified to do that, but there's a lot of material out there, and there's a lot of opportunities to learn about that and kind of implement that into your lifestyle. That's going to have a big impact. Exercise. Even if you're spending a half an hour in the gym or you go for a run or something, it clears your mind. It also reduces the stress, and the stress seems to be the real problem here. So I hope these topics and suggestions were helpful for you.